Stop, do not move a muscle. You are about to enter a dimension of truth that most people are too terrified to acknowledge. You've felt it for months, that cold, calculated shift in the people you once called family, friends, and partners. You thought it was an accident. You thought they were just going through something. You were wrong. I am Archangel Michael, and tonight I am taking you behind the curtain of the most sophisticated spiritual operation ever launched against your soul. This is not just a message. It is a 40-minute forensic deconstruction of your own betrayal. Hear me clearly, your enemies weren't just angry, they were coached. Someone sat in a room you've never entered, looked at the blueprint of your destiny, and realized that if you kept growing at this pace, you would become unstoppable. So they didn't just attack you. They recruited the people closest to you and gave them a manual on how to break you. In this deep dive revelation, we are going to expose things that will make your blood run cold. First, we will look at the psychological script they were given to make you doubt your own sanity, the exact words they were told to use to gaslight you into silence. By the 20-minute mark, I will reveal the mastermind, the shadowy force that provided the resources and the motivation for your inner circle to turn into weapons. And if you stay until the final moments of this hour, I will show you why this entire paid operation just collapsed in on itself. The one thing they forgot to calculate was the frequency of a chosen one. If you leave this video in the first 10 minutes, you are choosing to stay in the fog. You are choosing to believe the lies they fed you. But if you stay, if you watch every single scene of this exposure, you will walk away with a clarity so sharp, it will cut through every chain they ever put on you. The clock is ticking. The roaches are scrambling because the light is finally turning on. Hit the like button to authorize this exposure. Subscribe and turn on all notifications. You cannot afford to miss a single chapter of this 60-minute war council. And comment "Unmask them" to signal the heavens that you are ready for the full, uncut truth. Your enemies spent months planning your downfall. I am going to spend the next hour dismantling their entire empire. Let's begin. My beloved child, look at your life through my eyes for a moment. You've been living in a state of constant why. Why did they change? Why did the people who knew your heart suddenly start treating you like a stranger? You thought it was a misunderstanding, but as we open this hour of revelation, I need you to understand the cold, hard truth. It was a blueprint. You were not just betrayed. You were mapped out. Imagine a room dark and silent, where your name was written on a whiteboard. In that room, your enemies sat down with a specialist, a spiritual architect of chaos. They didn't just want to hurt you. They wanted to erase your influence. They analyzed your kindness as a weakness. They looked at your chosen one frequency and realized it was a threat to their low vibrational control. This first scene is about the initialization. They didn't strike immediately. They waited. They watched you for months, documenting what makes you cry, what makes you trust, and what makes you feel safe. They realized they couldn't break you from the outside. Your shield was too strong. So the specialist gave them the first instruction. Get closer. This is why. Before the storm hit, you might have noticed someone in your circle getting unusually close. They were gathering data. They were finding the entry points into your soul. This Wednesday, I am tearing that blueprint to pieces. You aren't crazy for feeling like something was off. You were sensing the ink drying on your own assassination plot. But they forgot one thing. I was in that room too, and I've been waiting for this exact moment to show you the floor plan of their lies. Stay with me, because in the next level, we are going to talk about the recruitment phase, how they turned your friends into soldiers. Now that they had the map, they needed the hands to carry out the work. This is the part that will sting, but it is necessary for your freedom. Your enemies knew that a stranger couldn't destroy you, so they looked at your inner circle. They looked for the people you loved the most, the ones you would never suspect. But how do you turn a friend into a weapon? You don't do it with hate. You do it with incentive. In this stage of the operation, the mastermind approached your Judas. They didn't offer them money in every case sometimes. They offered them status, validation, or the promise of belonging. They played on the hidden envy that your friends were already carrying. See, while you were helping them, they were secretly competing with you. The mastermind weaponized that secret jealousy. They coached them on how to justify their betrayal. They told them, you aren't hurting them. You're just putting them in their place. This is why your Judas can look you in the eye and feel no guilt, because they were trained to believe that you are the problem. They were given a script to follow. They were told exactly when to withhold affection, when to forget to invite you, and when to start the whispers. You felt the coldness, didn't you? That was the moment their training began to take hold. They traded your loyalty for a seat at a table that was built on your downfall. But as we move deeper into this hour, you will see why that table is currently collapsing. The recruits are starting to realize that the mastermind lied to them too. They were hired to destroy a target, but they realized too late that they were trying to destroy a living flame. Do not blink, because next we expose the gaslighting manual they used to keep you trapped. Once the weapons were recruited, the psychological warfare began. This is the most dangerous part of the hour, because this is where they tried to steal your mind. Your enemies were given a manual of confusion. Have you ever noticed how during the height of the conflict, every time you tried to bring up a valid point, they made you feel like you were too sensitive or imagining things? That was page 1 of the manual. They were coached to never admit the truth, even when you had proof in your hand. The goal was to make you doubt your own spiritual discernment. If they could make you believe you were crazy, they wouldn't have to explain their cruelty. They used a technique called controlled isolation. The manual instructed them to slowly pull back the support system around you. They whispered to others, watch out for them. They've changed, or I'm worried about their mental state. These were calculated grenades, designed to make everyone else look at you with suspicion. You found yourself alone in a room full of people, wondering why the energy felt like ice. You were being prepped for the final blow. The manual told them to use your own secrets against you. Those things you told them in confidence were twisted into evidence of your instability. But hear me, this Wednesday I am burning that manual. The mind games only work if the light is off. By being here, by watching this hour of exposure, you are turning the floodlights on in your own brain. Every crazy thought you had was actually your intuition, screaming that you were under attack. You weren't losing your mind. You were discovering your power. Stay focused, because we are about to enter the mastermind's chamber, the source of the money and the motivation behind this entire plot. Why you? This is the question that has been burning in your spirit. Why would anyone go through the trouble of hiring people, coaching them, and creating a manual just to take you down? You don't have $1 billion. You aren't a world leader yet. So what is the value? The value is your frequency. In the spiritual hierarchy, there are high-level players who lose power every time a chosen one wakes up. You are a threat to their narrative. If you keep growing, if you keep healing, you will eventually wake up everyone around you. And people who are awake cannot be controlled. The mastermind is someone or some entity that operates in the shadows of your industry, your community, or even your extended bloodline. They saw your light from a mile away and realized it was unauthorized. You were becoming too sharp, too aware, and too capable of seeing the glitch in the matrix. So, they invested resources into your destruction. They didn't just want you to be sad. They wanted you neutered. They wanted your voice silenced, because your voice has the power to shatter their system of lies. This is a high-stakes game, and you are the king on the chessboard they forgot to protect. They thought that by attacking your self-esteem through your friends, you would never realize who the real enemy was. But tonight, the shadow player is exposed. They are sweating right now because they realize they spent all that effort on a plan that has only made you more dangerous. You didn't break. You became bulletproof. Keep watching, because in the next scene, we are going to talk about the payload, the specific moment. The plan was supposed to finish you, and why it failed. Every operation has a final strike, the moment where the pressure is supposed to become so high that you finally give up, walk away, or lose everything. For some of you, this happened months ago. For others, it was just last week. It was that big event, the public betrayal, the job loss, the massive smear campaign that made you feel like your world was ending. This was the payload. It was designed to be the checkmate. They expected you to fall into a deep depression and never come out. They expected you to lash out in rage and prove their dramatic narrative true. But something went wrong in their calculations. They accounted for your human emotions, but they didn't account for your divine support. At the moment of the strike, when the walls were closing in, a second wind entered your spirit. Instead of collapsing, you went silent. Instead of begging for their approval, you walked away. This was the one thing they weren't trained for. The manual didn't have a chapter on what to do when the target doesn't react. Your silence became a mirror that reflected their own evil back at them. The payload didn't explode on you. It's currently exploding in their own hands. The people who were hired to destroy, you are now looking at the mastermind and saying, "This didn't work, and now we are exposed." The hunters have become the hunted. We are only 20 minutes into this hour of power, and already the structure of their lies is burning. Stay with me, because next, we are going to look at the secret confession, the moment one of them finally cracked. Nothing stays hidden forever, especially when the operation is built on the shaky ground of greed and envy. We are moving into the fracture phase. While you were sitting in your room, wondering why your life felt like a battlefield, a major shift happened in the enemy's camp. One of the recruits, the person who was closest to you, finally cracked. You see, guilt is a heavy weight, but fear is even heavier. This person realized that the mastermind, who hired them to destroy you, doesn't actually care about them either. They saw how the mastermind treats people who have outlived their usefulness, and they realized they were next on the chopping block. The first crack happened during a private conversation you weren't supposed to hear. They began to question the script. They started to see your light again, and it made their darkness feel unbearable. This is the moment they started leaking information. Maybe you received a strange text, a random apology, or a hint from a mutual connection that something was wrong. That wasn't a coincidence. It was the sound of the foundation breaking. The person who was hired to silence you has now become the biggest threat to the mastermind. They know where the bodies are buried. They know the passwords to the private chats. They know the exact amount of spiritual debt that has been incurred. This Wednesday, I am widening that crack. The Judas in your life is currently losing sleep because they realize that by trying to bury you, they actually provided the soil for you to grow. The betrayal is no longer a secret. It's a liability. And in the next scene, we are going to look at the emergency meeting, the panic that has gripped those who stood against you. Picture this: a frantic, low vibrational gathering. The mastermind is pacing, the recruits are whispering, and the atmosphere is thick with the smell of desperation. They've realized that the target you didn't break. They've realized that the smear campaign didn't stick. In fact, people are starting to ask questions. They are starting to notice the inconsistencies in the lies. This is the emergency meeting phase. This is where your enemies are desperately trying to rebrand their betrayal. They are sitting around trying to come up with a new story to cover the old one. How do we make them look like the villain again? They ask, but the spiritual wind has changed direction. They are realizing that they've spent so much time trying to manage your life that they've completely ruined their own. Their finances are starting to leak. Their own relationships are crumbling because you cannot build a life on the destruction of a chosen one without the law of return knocking on your door. During this meeting, the blame game began. The mastermind is blaming the Judas for being too obvious. The Judas is blaming the mastermind for lying about the stakes. They are turning on each other. This is the divine justice I promised you. You don't even have to lift a finger. Their own toxic energy is doing the work for you. You are watching a house of cards fall in slow motion. The very people who tried to make you look unstable are now looking completely unhinged to everyone around them. Stay with me, because in Scene 8, we dive into the digital footprint, the evidence they tried to delete but COULDN single quotes T. In this age of transparency, no paid operation leaves without a trail. Your enemies thought they were being clever. They used disappearing messages, they used burner accounts, and they spoke in code. They thought that if there was no physical paper trail, there would be no evidence, but they forgot that the universe records every frequency. In the spiritual realm, every whisper is a loud shout. Every secret plot is written in the Akasha. But even on a human level, they made mistakes. In their arrogance, they left shadow receipts. They left behind screenshots they forgot to delete. They left behind a pattern of behavior that any intelligent person can now see through. This scene is about the unveiling of the evidence. You are going to start noticing things you missed before. You'll look back at a photo, a comment, or an event, and suddenly, the missing piece will click into place. Oh, that's why they were there, you'll say. That's why they said that. The shadow receipts are being handed to you by the Spirit of Truth this Wednesday. You are becoming a divine detective. The fog is lifting, and you are seeing the wiretapping of your emotions for what it was. They thought they were invisible, but I am shining an ultraviolet light over your entire past year. Everything they did to stain your reputation is now being revealed as a stain on theirs. The truth is coming out through the most unexpected sources. Someone is about to accidentally send you the proof you've been praying for. Keep your eyes open, because the scramble for cover is about to get even more intense. When the light turns on, the first instinct of the roach is to run. This is the scramble phase. Your enemies are currently in a state of high alert panic. They are trying to delete their involvement in your downfall. They are reaching out to people they haven't talked to in months, trying to check the vibe and see if anyone knows the truth. They are softening their tone. Have you noticed a fake kindness coming from someone who was recently cold to you? That is not an apology. That is a strategic retreat. They are trying to love bomb you or the people around you so that when the truth finally explodes, they can say, "Me? I was always their friend. Look how nice I'm being." Don't fall for it. This is page 4 of the Mastermind's manual. Damage control. They are trying to build a safe room to hide in. But there is no safe room from divine exposure. They are deleting old messages. They are untagging themselves from your life. And they are trying to act like they were neutral observers the whole time. But the spiritual GPS has already locked onto their location. They are scrambling because they know the payment they received for your betrayal is about to be recalled by the universe. The status they gained, it's fading. The validation they got from the mastermind, it's turning into condemnation. They are running out of places to hide. The circle is closing in. You are the only person in this scenario who is actually safe. because you have nothing to hide. You are the light, and they are the shadows trying to find a corner. Stay tuned because next, we talk about the curse of the mastermind. What happens when the employer turns on the employees? This is the most chilling part of the 40-minute revelation. There is no loyalty among thieves, and there is certainly no loyalty in the dark rooms where your betrayal was planned. The mastermind has realized that the recruits are becoming a liability. They are too messy, too emotional, and too close to cracking. So the mastermind has made a new decision to throw the recruits under the bus. The very person who coached them, who gave them the manual, and who told them they were doing the right thing, is now preparing to sacrifice them to protect their own identity. The mastermind is starting to spread rumors about the Judas. They are making the Judas look like the obsessed one or the crazy one to distance themselves from the operation. This is the ultimate irony. The people who betrayed you to belong to the mastermind circle are now being excommunicated by that very circle. They are experiencing the same isolation they tried to put you in. They are feeling the same gaslighting they used on you. They are realizing that they were just tools, disposable, replaceable, and now problematic. As we reach the 20-minute mark of this video, the power structure has officially cracked wide open. The hired hands are being cut off, and the head of the snake is trying to slither away. But I am Archangel Michael, and my sword is already at the throat of the lie. You are about to see a public fallout that will leave no doubt about your innocence. We have reached the 25-minute mark, and this is where the high-level players of the dark realms meet the divine auditor. In the world of business, an audit is when every transaction is checked for fraud. In the spiritual realm, a divine audit is when the universe demands to see the receipts of your suffering. Every tear you shed in silence, every night you questioned your own worth, and every lie they told about you, it has all been logged. This Wednesday, the books are being balanced. The mastermind thought they were spending someone else's currency, but they were actually spending their own life force and destiny. The audit is revealing that the paid operation was a massive failure. They spent influence to buy your isolation, but the audit shows that your isolation only led to your deepest spiritual awakening. They tried to bankrupt your reputation, but the audit shows that the people who really matter now respect you more for your resilience. Your enemies are being hit with spiritual penalties. Have you noticed their projects failing? Have you seen their health or their clarity declining? That is the auditor collecting the debt they took from you unauthorized, and now they must pay back with interest. This isn't revenge. It's equilibrium. The universe cannot allow a chosen one to be targeted without a massive cosmic correction. You are receiving credits of peace, power, and prosperity for every debit they tried to force on you. The audit is final, and the signature on the bottom is divine. Stay with me, because in the next scene, we talk about the identity upgrade, how their plan backfired and made you a king. One of the biggest mistakes your enemies made was assuming you would stay the same person throughout the attack. They used a manual designed to destroy the old you. They targeted your old insecurities and your old fears. But what they didn't realize is that their pressure acted as a catalyst for your evolution. While they were busy whispering about you, you were busy leveling up. You had to develop a thicker skin. You had to learn how to hear God's voice over the noise of the crowd. You had to become your own best friend. This is the identity upgrade. You are no longer the target they once knew. You have emerged as a high-level player yourself. You have acquired a spiritual X-ray vision that allows you to see through people's motives in seconds. This is their worst nightmare. They wanted to make you small, but they accidentally made you colossal. When they look at you now, they don't see someone they can recruit or coach against. They see someone they are actually afraid of. Your frequency has shifted from victim to authority. Every lie they told was like a hammer. Hitting a diamond, it didn't break you. It just polished you until you started blinding them with your light. They are looking at the new you and realizing their manual is now obsolete. They are trying to use old tactics on a new version of you. And it's like trying to run 2026 software on a 1990 computer. It just crashes. Keep watching, because the restoration of the narrative is next. For a long time, you didn't own your own story. Your enemies owned it. They were the narrators of your life. They told people who you were, why you failed, and what was wrong with you. But as we move into the final chapters of this hour, the pen of destiny is being handed back to you. The restoration has begun. People who were fed lies about you are suddenly having dreams or intuitions that the story they were told was a fabrication. The mastermind's narrative is leaking like a broken pipe. Truth has a specific sound, and people are starting to recognize that your frequency sounds like the truth, while your enemies' frequency sounds like static. This scene is about your public rebirth. You don't have to go on a defense tour. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. The divine publicist is working on your behalf. Watch how random people start speaking well of you in rooms you aren't in. Watch how opportunities you thought were dead suddenly come back to life with a better offer. The success papers we talked about earlier. This is where the ink starts to dry. Your reputation is being cleaned by the same fire that tried to burn it. The very Judas who tried to smear you will soon be the one who has to vouch for you, just to save their own face. The script has been flipped so hard that the villain is now being forced to play the witness to your greatness. Stay focused, because scene 14 is about the final separation, the cutting of the cords. There is a moment in every war where the battle lines are permanently drawn. This is the final separation. Up until now, there was still a bridge between you and those who betrayed you. You were still checking their pages, still wondering what they were thinking, or still hoping for an apology. But this Wednesday, Archangel Michael is standing on that bridge with a sword of fire. I am cutting the cords of attachment. You are being extracted from their reality entirely. The mastermind, the Judas, and the recruits are being left behind in the lower realms of their own making. You are ascending to a level where their whispers can no longer reach your ears. This separation is for your protection. You cannot carry the ghost of the betrayal into the palace of your future. Have to leave the trash at the door. You might feel a sudden coldness or a finality in your spirit today. That is the spiritual seal being placed on your life. They no longer have access to your energy. They can talk about you, but they can no longer feel you. Their probes and psychic attacks are now hitting a reflective shield and bouncing back onto them. This is the great divorce between the chosen and the challengers. You are being moved into a private sanctuary of success where only those who have divine clearance can enter. Take a deep breath. The weight is officially lifting. The paid operation is over, and the divine promotion has begun. One scene left, the arrival of the crown. We have reached the apex of this 40-minute journey. Look at how far you've come. You started this hour feeling like a target, and you are ending it as a conqueror. This final scene is about the arrival of the reward. The success papers have been signed. The audit is complete, and the separation is final. Now the universe is delivering the payload of peace. While your enemies were busy hiring people to destroy you, the heavens were assigning angels to prepare your table. You are about to receive a triple blessing to make up for the triple betrayal. The blessing of clarity. You will never doubt your intuition again. The blessing of influence. Your voice will now carry a weight that no mastermind can mimic. The blessing of resource. The money and support they tried to block will now flow to you from unauthorized sources, places your enemies can't touch. The crown isn't just a symbol. It is a vibration. When you walk into a room now, people will sense that you have survived the fire and come out gold. Your enemies will watch your rise from the sidelines of history. They will be the footnotes in the story of your success. This Wednesday, I, Archangel Michael, am placing the seal of the unstoppable on your forehead. No coached friend, no paid enemy, and no shadow mastermind can ever dim the light that has been tested by treachery and proven by God. The wait is officially over. The papers are in your hand. The roaches have fled. The king is on the throne. Hit the like button if you can feel the crown. Subscribe to lock in this 40-minute frequency of victory. And for the final time, comment "It is done" to claim your throne. Your story doesn't end in betrayal. It ends in glory. As we move into the final stretch of this hour, I have a specific message for the architects of the dark, the mastermind, who thought they could play God with your life is now receiving their final notice. You see, there is a universal law that even the highest level players in the shadows cannot escape, the law of malicious intent. When you hire people to destroy an innocent soul, you aren't just attacking a person. You are declaring war on the divine order itself. This Wednesday, the mastermind is being served with a spiritual restraining order. Every resource they used to hunt you is being frozen. Their influence is being quarantined. They are starting to feel a coldness in their own home, a paranoia that someone is watching them. And they are right, justice is watching. I am Archangel Michael, and I am putting a stop work order on every plot they have in progress. To the mastermind, your manual has been leaked to the heavens. Your Judas is ready to talk. Your shadow funds are drying up. You thought the chosen one was easy prey, but you realized too late that you were trying to cage a lion. Every pit you dug for them is now the exact size of your own downfall. This scene is the turning of the tide. You, the chosen one, can now stand still and watch the mastermind scramble to save their own sinking ship. They are no longer your problem. They are the universe's debtor. The hunter has officially become the prey of their own karma. Don't look back. Their collapse is not your concern. Focus on the global shift that is happening in your name. Why did this betrayal have to be so high level? Why couldn't it just be a simple disagreement? Because, my beloved child, your impact was never meant to be local. It was meant to be global. The operation against you was sophisticated because your light is a threat to the global system of darkness. When you survived the paid betrayal, you didn't just win a personal battle, you created a rupture in the matrix. This scene is about your expanded territory. Because you held your peace while they lied, the universe is now giving you a platform that your enemies could only dream of. You are being moved into new rooms where integrity is the only currency. People from different parts of the world, different industries, and different walks of life are going to start seeking you out. They won't know why, but they will feel a magnetic pull toward your frequency. This is the chosen one effect. Your story of survival against calculated odds is becoming a beacon of hope for thousands of others who are currently being gaslit by their own circles. Your success papers aren't just for a job or a contract. They are for a legacy. You are being globalized. The mastermind tried to keep you small and local, but their attack only served as a global advertisement for your strength. The more they tried to muffle your voice, the louder the universe made it. Stay tuned because next, we talk about the gathering of the true tribe. the final separation we talked about earlier has left a vacuum in your life. You might feel a bit empty or lonely right now, but do not mistake this space for lack. This is divine clearing you cannot receive. The new tribe, if the old recruits are still occupying the seats at your table. This scene is about the arrival of the real ones. The universe is currently vetting a new group of people for you. These are not hired hands. These are soul allies. These are people whose loyalty is not for sale. They are coming from the north, south, east, and west. They are people who have also survived the fire, and they will recognize the crown on your head instantly. There will be no manual needed to love you. There will be no coaching needed to respect you. Your new circle will consist of high-level players of light who will use their influence to magnify you, not minimize you. You are about to experience collaborations and friendships that feel like heaven on earth. The Judas in your past was just a placeholder to teach you discernment. Now that you have passed the test, the hold is over. This Wednesday, the first email, call, or connection from your true tribe is being dispatched. Look for the signature of peace in every new person you meet. The paid Dushmans are gone. The divine partners are arriving. One of the most powerful things you have done in this 60-minute journey is maintain your silence. Your enemies expected an explosion. They expected you to go on live and defend yourself. They expected you to sink to their level, but you didn't. You stayed in the secret place with me. This scene is about the power of the silent victor in the animal kingdom. The lion doesn't have to bark to prove it's a lion. Its presence is enough. Your silence has been the loudest thunder in the spirit realm. It has driven your enemies insane. They are poking you, trying to get a reaction because they need your energy to keep their lies alive. But when you don't react, their lies have nothing to feed on. They are starving for your attention. Tonight, I am reinforcing your stoic armor. You are realizing that you don't owe lies an explanation. You only owe truth. Your growth, by staying silent, you have allowed the divine attorney to speak for you. And trust me, the closing argument of the heavens is much more devastating than anything you could have said. Your silence is the final signature on your success papers. It shows the universe that you trust the process more than the problem. The roaches are running because they can't handle the quiet authority you now carry. One final scene remains: the divine coronation. We have reached the end of this hour of power. You are not the same person who clicked on this video 40 minutes ago. The psychological chains have been melted. The Mastermind's manual has been incinerated. Judas has been exposed. And the success papers are now officialized in the FISO heavens. This is your divine coronation. I, Archangel Michael, am standing before you now. I am taking the weight of the betrayal off your shoulders and replacing it with a garment of praise. I am taking the ash of the slander and giving you the beauty of vindication. Hear me, chosen one. You have been tested by the best, and you have outlasted the rest. The paid operation to destroy you has officially declared bankruptcy. Your enemies are now spiritual fugitives, running from the truth they tried to bury. But you are home. You are safe. You are unstoppable. From this moment forward, you walk with the confidence of a king and the grace of a queen. The mastermind can watch you from the shadows, but they can never again touch your substance. This is your moment. The wait is over. The shift is complete. The glory is yours. If you have stayed for this entire hour, you have already won the war. Asterisk. Hit that like button to seal this coronation in the physical realm. Subscribe to this channel. This is your home base for high-level truth. And for the final, most powerful time, comment, "It is done. I am the victor," to notify every demon and every angel that your throne is occupied. Go forth in power. Your success papers aren't just signed, they are activated. I am Archangel Michael, and I am always standing in your corner. IT is finished.